take care of yourself. Value yourself enough to do it the slow way, to do it the right way. We have to talk specifically about the individual instances where you fail to show up, and we have to look at exactly what's going on. When we do this, what we're going to find is that a lot of what you're saying about being helpless and unmotivated or whatever, it's actually bullshit. You have to look at everything that's there. And until you do, the parts where you refuse to look, they will continue to trip you up. There was a question we got, I think this was from the Discord, right? And so someone said, I just relapsed again on day 4. So they're talking about quitting porn. And they said, at this point, I'm starting to lose all faith that I will be able to quit this addiction. I've been trying to quit this for years now, and I can't even make it past a week consistently. I don't know what to do anymore. I've been over the Reforged Man course over and over, probably almost 100 times, and I know the material, but my brain just doesn't care. It wants short-term pleasure no matter what the cost. It's ruining my life, but I just can't stop. My primal brain is in control, and I'm too weak to stop it. I want to be positive, but deep down, I don't feel like I will be successful. I feel like I'm destined to destroy my life with this addiction, or at least live a subpar, lonely life. Okay. So this is one of those things where I think taking the high-level picture is doing you a disservice, because there is a way out of this, but you have to get specific. And I think a lot of times people adopt a mentality like this where it's like, oh, it's hopeless. I just keep trying and failing. I'm helpless against myself or whatever. They do this because it gives them an excuse. Because as long as you tell yourself, oh, I'm too weak to do this. Oh, I can't control it. Oh, my emotional mind just doesn't care. It's like, as long as you live in that world, then you're not responsible for anything, because you're just a poor little hopeless victim, poor little baby bird. And it's just like, okay, as long as you live from here, you're done. There's nothing I can do to help you. Now, if I was working with someone like this and they were a client and they started talking to me like this, the number one thing that I would want to do in order to help them is make them get specific. Meaning we have to talk specifically about the individual instances where you fail to show up. And we have to look at exactly what's going on. And when we do this, what we're going to find is that a lot of what you're saying about being helpless and unmotivated or whatever, it's actually bullshit. You actually do care, but the fact is, if you actually look at where you care, you'll have to feel your frustration. And this is one of the things I talked about previously. It's like, if you're in hopelessness, we need to get you to frustration with your current reality. And the only way we can get you there is if we look at the fact that, hey, things actually could be better. So for example, with this guy, it's like you keep sitting down and you just keep watching porn. It's like, okay, well, did you try and talk to yourself? It's like, well, no, I just did it. It's like, well, okay, let's see if we can actually implement some of our self-talk. It's like, well, I can't remember how to do it. I just always go on autopilot. It's like, okay, well, then what we got to do is we have to do preemptive journal entries. And so this is using my Metascript method, which you can get in a link below. Hopefully add that link below there, Pete, and people can get the Metascript method. It's a journaling guide. And one of the things we can do is we do journal entries to pre-rehearse how we want to think in critical moments of craving. So for example, say one of your hot spots for relapse is right when you get home from work. Okay. So that morning or the night before, you're going to write a journal entry where you pre-rehearse what you want to do if you get triggered when you get home from work. So you write it out. It's like, oh, if I get triggered when I get home from work, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be exhausted, and I'm going to tell myself, hey man, we're not going to use porn. What we're going to do is we're going to go get changed out of our work clothes, and then we're going to go for a walk, and then we're going to make some dinner. That's what we're going to do, because that's what's good for us. And using porn, it is making our life worse for X, Y, and Z reason, and we want to get clean for P, Q, and R reason, all right? And you literally write this down. And you write this down maybe even twice. You rehearse it. And doing this, what this does is it causes your brain to think those thoughts in the moment. And so this is a surefire technique. This will absolutely work, and at least getting you to talk to yourself. And so we get our buddy to do this, and guess what? He's going to be able to stay clean. And he's going to realize, oh, wow, I actually can do this. And then it's going to be about sorting through all the other bullshit that he's got in his head, trying to excuse him from doing it. All these other thoughts of like, well, yeah, I did it this one time. It's like, well, let's talk about that, all right? So you just did it one time. What's keeping you from doing it again? I don't know. I just always fail. It's like, well, why do you always fail? Oh, because I stopped doing the things. So what if you didn't stop doing the things? What if you actually stuck with this? It's like, well, I just lose motivation. It's like, well, why do you lose motivation? It's like you lose motivation because you stop thinking about the things that you want. And so it's like, there's solutions to every single little chain link in the problem. Okay. And that's what you got to do is you got to look at, all right, we have to create this flow of energy and there's all these little links. Well, guess what? All these little links individually, they're not that hard to solve if you look at them. But if you look at it as a whole, you just keep standing back and being like, it's too much, it's too hard. Well, then, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to have the humility to step into that process of really going through things bit by bit. And I get how hard this is because I'm the master of just trying to like dash ahead and not look at all the details. Because I just don't want to deal with that kind of crap. I think it should just be easier. I think I can just like push through because, I'm motivated or because, I want it or whatever, or I feel like I deserve it. Doesn't work. You have to look at everything that's there. And until you do, the parts where you refuse to look, they will continue to trip you up. And this is why I have the sign back here. You can kind of just see the little corner of it right there. It says slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And because this is something that I needed to learn on such a deep level. It's like you slow down and you look at each link of the problem and you fix it. Just take your time, just one at a time. All right. You build up a plan, you build up a system step by step. And as you do that, things are going to start getting better. And it seems so slow. It seems like, oh, well, can't I just watch a few motivational videos and just like get hyped up and go really hard? No, you can't. That will not work. You will 100% like burn out in a day or two and then just go back to the exact same spot or worse. All right. So that doesn't work. You have to slow down. And as you slow down, you start smoothing out the process. You start fixing the little issues. And as you start smoothing it out, you start being able to actually make progress and you start going faster and faster. It's the most brilliant saying. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The Special Forces training motto for when they're trying to practice operating under high stress situations. And so they do it slow, they make it smooth, and once they make it smooth, you can make it fast. And this is how life works, guys. You got to be able to slow down, eat that humble pie, realize how far you are from where you want to be. But when you finally accept that, it's just reality. It's not admitting surrender. It's just looking at the truth of something and deciding, all right, I'm worth the effort of doing the real work rather than trying to live in this fantasy world where I can just jump to the solution without having to try. Like that's where most guys are. It's like they just think that I should just be able to do it. I should just be able to just, try a little bit harder. That's all. And then they just slam their head against a concrete wall repeatedly and not get anywhere because they don't want to see, oh, this is an actual journey here in front of me. This is something where it's going to take time and consistent effort. And then they just don't value themselves enough to actually go on that journey. And that's where people get stuck. And I've done that. It really sucks. It's not worth it. So my recommendation to you is to take care of yourself. Value yourself enough to do it the slow way, to do it the right way. There's a correlation with things like weight loss. It's like the faster you lose the weight, the more likely it is that you're going to have a relapse and gain it all back, and then maybe even then some. But if you lose weight slowly, it's much more likely that you have found something that's actually sustainable then. You've found a way, you've actually adopted a lifestyle that you want to keep going with. And this is true with a lot of stuff. It's like take your time, really feel it out, and, follow that path of intuition inside of yourself where it's like, oh, this is what feels right. Oh, this is what feels right. This is what feels right. And have the humility to just like follow that slow and steady approach. So hopefully that's helpful to some of you out there because that's something that I wish the younger me had heard very frequently.